Welcome back to Can't Think Straight. Unfortunately, Jenna and Sydney were not able to make it. They had to do some homework, but we are your next best option.
And you know what they say, the show must go on. And I am Chinny. And you are Jenna.
And I'm Jenna. And this is Chinny.
Jenna, Sydney, we gotta start filming, guys. I know it's you.
Kylie, what are you talking about?
They literally told us to come here, Kylie.
God, Kylie.
Come on, Kylie. It's in the program, Kylie.
Oh, what's up, Kylie?
What the f***?
I'm so
Thank
sorry
you.
we're late. It's just been, the traffic was insane.
Jenna, Chidney, thank you guys for doing the
You guys
intro.
are so dope for covering for us. We owe you lunch sometime, for real.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll dive you up. I got you.
Bye.
We've got another packed show ahead of us. Unfortunately, everyone will be fully dressed on this episode, but Jenna,
You're telling me everyone's going to be fully dressed in this episode? I thought this was a theme we were planning to continue, Sid. I mean, we started with Rocky Horror, and now we're just having people come back clothed again?
that was Halloween. That's the
But
one I
I'm just saying, I don't want to be a part of this if everyone's going to be clothed.
You're wearing clothes right now, Jenna. Please enjoy this interview with Maya Szymborski, co-leader of the Queer People of Color group here on campus.
Bye.
Hi, and welcome back to Can't Think Straight. I'm your host, Jenna Dunning, and I'm here with one of the co-leaders of the Queer People of Color group here at App State, Maya Szymborski. Maya, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's so great to have you back. I believe you were on a previous episode of Can't Think Straight with Nate and Harriet, correct?
Yes, I was on the Camp Think Straight episodes.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a great episode. A good one to be a part of for sure.
Thank you.
So, Maya, would you like to tell me a little bit about this club you co-lead with? I believe their name was Ollie Banton?
Yeah, so Ollie and I started this group called Queer People of Color. It was basically, the point of it was to be a safe space for not only people who identify as a person of color, but also under the LGBTQ plus label. There's a lot of groups on campus that are for queers and for people of color, but there wasn't any that was for both, and we wanted to make a safe place to have those discussions with.
Yeah, that's really important too, because I always notice that, you do have a lot of these, I guess, like minority groups. They all do have a group in representation here, which is fantastic. But I feel like what's really great is when you can bring the groups together to create like almost a majority. And I think that's a great thing that the Queer People of Color group does.
Thank you.
So on the behalf of the rest of the queer people at App State, thanks for starting a cool group or organization. I believe you guys are affiliated with the Henderson Center here, right? The LGBTQ Center. Do you guys do any events with them or work with them at all? How does that work for you guys?
We're kind of just labeled under them. They do most of like our funding, help us gather events, get supplies and everything, but we haven't done any events with them. However, next semester we are planning on making a few events that will be both the Henderson Center and the QPOC group.
Nice. Okay, that's really exciting. So I believe, if I'm correct, your meetings take place every Monday in Plemons?
Yes.
Correct?
So,
yeah, I was going to say, can you tell me a little bit more?
Yeah, our meetings take place in this Plemons Student Union. I believe it's room 227, rhododendron room, and it is usually from 5 to 6. We just let anybody come. It's supposed to be a safe place where usually what we do is we either have discussions or we just talk about like things that are going on or things that we struggle with and kind of support each other. Or we also play games and just have a fun time.
That's good. It seems like a really open space for people to just hang out to, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic. I don't know. I always mention that I come from like a pretty rural place, and there was like these clubs or groups were unheard of in my high school, and if they did exist, they were made fun of. Mm-hmm. So it's really nice that groups like this can be taken seriously here. So it's really great that you guys have taken precedent, I guess, and continue to make this campus inclusive place. I believe I read into the center's vision a little bit, and they were discussing how they just would like to give a platform to those in the queer community. And I have to say, like, my show's vision definitely aligns with that, and I really think that it's great how we all seem to be on the same page about just like giving those who don't have as loud or heard a voice, you know, a place to be heard. So how do you think the Queer People of Color group upholds that vision?
I think it's just, like I said, it's mainly just a place for these members to feel safe. Just a lot of times when we have our discussions, they don't feel like they have people that they can relate to or who understand the struggles that they go through as a queer person and as a person of color, just both those identities. And for our group, it's mainly just to be there for them to have make friends with people who are like-minded or have had similar experiences, and also to be able to like tell people that, hey, we have this group, you're all welcome here. We want to make sure that you feel safe and that you feel important, and that you feel comfortable here at App.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you so much. My last question, or I guess more so a comment, would you like to promote your group? Do you guys have social media tags or any upcoming events that you'd like to share with the queer community?
Yeah, so we do have an Instagram. It is I believe it's the App State QPOC Instagram. You could probably just look up App State QPOC and it will pop up.
Perfect.
We also have a group chat that we usually add people to. We have an Instagram group chat and we have a GroupMe group chat, which we do promote like our individual events, but also other things that are going on. Right now, we don't have any events coming up. We kind of already had our events, but definitely welcome to come.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much. It was fantastic talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I just need to figure out how to get this off my face.
I know, for real. I'm worried about it. You have boobs on your chin.
Boobs in my chin.
Boobs in my chin.
What you gonna do with the on your chin? Where are you going? We just started filming.
I don't want to hear it.
You're still wearing clothes, by the way.
Check out the QPOC Instagram tag below to stay up to date on coming events and more meetings.
Life is a journey. We're told that there are mountains and valleys before us. A mountaineer trudges through. Where others see an obstacle, a mountaineer sees an opportunity. A mountaineer climbs tomorrow's mountains today. So what is a mountaineer? A mountaineer is you.
Fight.
Welcome back to Can't Think Straight. Our next segment will discuss religion and sexuality. With App State's very own religious professor, Ozzie.
Sharon!
Ozzie, what do you want from me, Ozzie?
Down, Sharon. Down, girl. Down, girl. It's a different Ozzie, my love.
Are you Kelly?
I know a conversation about religion is usually a turnoff in the queer community, but I think you'll enjoy this coming segment more than you enjoyed that.
Take a look.
Fight.
Hi, and welcome back to Can't Think Straight. I'm Jenna Dunning, and I'm here with Ozzie Ostwalt. He is the host for the other segment I produce, Religion in Life, and he is here to talk to me a little bit about religion and sexuality at this point in our generation. So welcome, Ozzie.
Thank you, Jenna. This is fun to be on your program.
It is. It's so fun. I like that we're now able to, like kind of get a taste of both sides, as an interviewee and an interviewer.
That's right. Yeah.
So, Ozzie, I looked you up and I saw that you had dozens of accomplishments, and you can see here we have a couple of the awards that Religion in Life recently won, or not recently, but in the past years won. Yeah. I saw you've written a few books and, again, like several articles, all that had to do with religion and life, if you will, One that caught my eye was the the book titled Playing with God. Can you tell me a little bit about that book?
Sure. That was a book that's a little bit different from some of the other things I have written. And I actually wrote it in conjunction with an adult Sunday school class I was teaching at the church I attend. And for Lent, I agreed that I would write a daily reflection if the class would read it, and then we could discuss it. So those daily reflections during Lent became daily reflections for over a year until I finally just wore out writing them. So I went back and collected some, and I saw a theme emerge, and the theme was that there is a kind of spirituality that we can encounter in everyday life. And I found that some of the most meaningful encounters I discovered came through activities that we might consider playful. You know, playing with the dog, playing with sports, our spare time and our leisure activities. So I collected those essays with that in mind. And it's just a series of reflections of how we can encounter the spiritual or God through our everyday activities in places we might not normally expect to see.
Absolutely. And I was going to say the way I was brought up, I was brought up Catholic, but my aunt prefers to call us Cathudist, Catholic Buddhists.
Okay, that's pretty good. I will
right.
use that one.
Yes. No, so that's more so what I would describe my family as, is we're very, we believe in karma, we believe in doing right by the world, but the thing that I felt most connected to about this book, and at least the reviews and the short debrief I read about it, was that it aligned very similar with what my parents brought us up as. It was the way that my family interprets God is through good deeds and like happy actions. You know, anything that you can do that makes you feel morally good. And I guess our ideology is that we are meant to be a better person than we were the day before. And I feel like we often find those pieces that help us be that better person in acts of everyday life. So I found this book to be very meaningful, because I know in the queer community, oftentimes religion, especially Christianity, is very taboo. A lot of us have had poor experiences, and I myself, growing up in the Catholic Church, I made all of my sacraments. I believe there's a picture of me actually after I made confirmation that'll come up in a second. But I had made all these sacraments and went through all the classes, and it was a different time. It felt like I was back, we were like in the 70s again. This was like, I don't know, early 2010s. Right. And I remember we had this one class that was, they separated the girls and the guys into different rooms and talked about like marriage and, you know, abstinence and all these different things, which was already awkward, you know. I'm like, I don't want to hear about this in school, let alone from my church. But the class that day basically revolved around how women, or like wives, provide for their husbands and how that is our main job. Right. And I remember after that moment, I had already had it pretty much up to here with the church. But after that, I remember completely feeling resentment towards God and faith. And that was really hard for me as someone who grew up in such a loving family who painted God in a nice light. So I want to ask you how you see or have experienced religion progressing so these things might not happen to future generations.
Yeah. You said a lot there, and I think a couple of comments just before I go to that question. Religion at its best, right, I think does the same things that you were talking about earlier, your positive experiences with treating people with respect and love and finding the spiritual in everyday life. It's sad that sometimes institutional religion kind of gets in the way of that and puts up roadblocks, and in fact has driven you away, it sounds like. And to be honest, many people of your generation don't relate to institutional religion positively anymore. So, you know, religion at its best should be inclusive, right, but sometimes it's exclusive and keeps people away. Now, I think your question was, is the church or religion progressing in matters of sexuality? Maybe. Some traditions are. The religion in general has difficulty with sexuality. It's all across the spectrum, right? Some traditions paint sexuality in a very restrictive and negative light. And there's a lot of shame involved, a lot of guilt. Other traditions on the opposite end of the spectrum see sexual union as the greatest expression of divine union. So religion in general doesn't do a very good job with sexuality, period. Right?
Right.
Now, in Christianity, throughout history, the church has tended to be heteronormative for the most part. Is that changing? Yes. Okay. I think we see openness in some parts of the Christian world, like the Anglican Communion, where same-sex couples and marriage between same-sex couples is acknowledged and blessed and accepted. In the Anglican community, LGBTQ individuals can enter the priesthood, so there's some acceptance in some corners of Christendom, and then in other corners of Christendom, there's kind of conservative pushback against that, right? So there's not a simple answer. I think that overall there's a growing movement towards greater inclusivity and acceptance, but it's by no means universal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I will say, we just, for Religion and Life, we just had the guest on who,
That's right.
with the church, and she discussed a very progressive practice.
Yes.
And that was very, it was very comforting for me back in the control room, watching two people who are very faith-driven have such a nice open conversation about literally including everybody. And that's not just, those who, I guess, have those who, minorities, if we're going to put in a broad term.
Right.
And that is super refreshing. So I'm glad that there are signs that, religion and faith is progressing along with us. But I also found that spirituality has been something that, especially in the town of Boone, that a lot of people from my generation have latched on to. I personally, I don't know exactly where I fall with my faith yet, somewhere between agnostic and atheist right now. I'm still figuring it out. But I know a lot of people are, put their faith into pieces of the earth, and I'll bring up crystals, for example. But a lot of girls my age, I know, will get very into tarot and crystals and astrology and all these different things. And I see that a lot of people will often laugh or not take this practice seriously. But that frustrates me. And now again, I don't exactly participate in those things either, but I think that it's frustrating to hear, when someone completely counts out one form of faith because it doesn't align with the form of faith that they're used to or that is considered normal through society. Right. And again, to revert back to your book, I think that you do a great job of explaining that faith doesn't always come from the sacraments, for example, me
Right.
making confirmation. I made confirmation. I, in the eyes of God, am I've devoted my life to him or Jesus. And at this point now, I don't even know if I believe in Jesus Christ. So I felt like that's such an empty promise, while these actions through life, you going through your everyday, maybe helping somebody at the grocery store or, someone cross the street, whatever it is. I feel like those actions bring you closer to God or whatever divine power you believe in, more so than the things that we often feel are regimen, the going to church,
Creeds and rituals and
absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, you're a seeker, right? I mean, I thought you were a Cthulhus, but
Yeah, I was gonna say that's my family.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
more so seeking.
But the things you're describing, and I think you're accurately describing this area in particular. And you're also accurately describing your generation, which I think we're in Generation Z now.
Yes.
What what that suggests to me is that there's a great spiritual hunger, but that there's, for some reason, many people now are not finding the antidote to that hunger within traditional institutions, right?
Right.
I think there are a lot of reasons for that. Sociologists talk about it all the time. We have a whole generation of what we call nuns, you know, none of the above when it comes to religious affiliation. Yeah. And people call themselves spiritual but not religious. So all of that comes into play. I would just say that it's a shame when religious institutions exclude, because I think that that's not what religion at its best does. And you know, I'm old now, and I know less than I did when I was young, but I refuse anymore to be part of a religious organization that works on exclusionary grounds. And unless a religious institution can demonstrate to me that it's inclusive of all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, sexual attraction, gender identification, whatever, you know, we have all these ways of dividing people up.
Right.
Religion ought to be welcoming to bringing people together and not dividing them up anymore. So.
And again, that's just a perfect statement, I feel like, to end on, because I think that's what's most important here, and that's the best way that we're going to see religion progress, is through more acceptance, more inclusivity. And I'm glad that, you know, religious professors such as yourself are able to, you know, acknowledge this and enlighten other students that this is how it should be, maybe if they were raised differently. So thank you for, you know, helping give faith a chance, I guess, with our generation.
Well, it's out there. Those traditions may not be the loudest, right?
Right.
They might not be the loudest or the most numerous voices, but it's out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I want to come back sometime.
Good. Hopefully, maybe I'll come on Religion and Life.
We'll do that. All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
You don't want to miss them, because who doesn't love ads trying to sell you on a school that you already go to?
This all makes a lot more sense now.
What?
You growing up Catholic?
Just shut up and read the headlines.
Fine.
Trans beauty pageant contestant loses a court appeal to take part in Miss United States and has been banned from the contest for being born male. The case was taken to hung jury, where the deciding vote was none other than Caitlyn Jenner.
Rebel Wilson just announced that she is engaged to her girlfriend. And no, this is not the plot to Bridesmaids 2. However, I did hear that she booked Wilson Phillips for the reception.
This Wednesday, LGBTQ plus history was made when Maura Healey became the first lesbian governor of Massachusetts. The whole country is overjoyed by this victory, but no one is happier than Hollywood because now they have an idea for Meryl Streep's next Oscar-winning role.
A trans Army vet has detailed the horrific bullying she faced while serving in the military. In an interview with NBC, the veteran recalled one instance during movie night where her fellow officers asked her what movie she'd prefer, Top or Bottom Gun. To this, she quickly snapped back saying, "If you really want to know, you should ask your dad."
In other news, Levi Davis, the first out bisexual rugby player, has gone missing. The English 24-year-old was last seen in an Irish pub in Barcelona, Spain on October 29th. His mates reported that he vanished after doing an Irish good bisexual, where instead of leaving without telling anyone, you go around and say, bye, over and over again.
The World Cup is in 2 weeks and are being held in Qatar, where it is illegal to be homosexual. But English football officials are promising 5 safe houses for female and gay football fans. You would think that ticket sales would drop, but when they actually skyrocketed when they found out these safe houses were named Ginger, Sporty, Posh, Scary, and Baby. Oh! In June, American Girl doll was under fire for being accused of outing the Molly doll as gay on the first day of Pride 2022. Molly was so overwhelmed by this that one of her eyes is now permanently shut. More recently, in her Vegas residency, known ally Katy Perry showed her support for Molly by singing her set like this.
This week, trans beauty YouTuber Nikita Dragon was arrested in Miami for public indecency as she walked around her hotel pool naked. It took 3 cops to restrain her because every time they put the handcuffs on her, she kept saying, "I really like this."
Harry Styles' new gay drama, The Policeman, is coming out soon. But you know who isn't coming out anytime soon? Harry Styles. In other girly pop news, the green velvet couch TikTok trend has seen some celebrities hinting at their possible bisexuality. This hit home for me, and I didn't know why. But then it hit me. My bi-awakening also happened on a green couch.
You know, my gay awakening actually also happened on a couch. It was crazy. We were just sitting there, and all of a sudden, she reached over.
We'll be right back after this short break.
I was just gonna say she grabbed the remote.
Let's go!
To a place where you can grow.
A place to be heard.
And take a closer look.
A place where you can crush it.
And push yourself.
A place to find your voice.
This place rocks. And rolls.
A place where you can get out.
Way out! A place you'll never forget.
So where is this place? Let me show you.
Can you believe that this is our second to last episode for the entire semester?
That's honestly crazy, bruh. It feels like just yesterday we were pulling frat guys at the tailgate.
Ah, yes. The calm before the storm.
What about that setting was calm to you?
The vibe was just giving.
Giving what?
Just like giving. Sid, you know.
No, I really don't. That's literally why I asked. Oh, come on. Thanks so much for tuning in to Can't Think Straight. Make sure to like and share this video so my mom isn't lonely in the comment section. Until next time, bye.
I love you.
What?
Look at this.
Ozzie!
I'm fine with that.
And we don't even have to be in there. We could be, I mean,
It's just like a chin. Yeah, so that's what basically we're gonna be doing.